ladies.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, Lord, I'm tired today.
It's been a long week.
It's definitely been a long week.
Been a good week, though.
It's been a
Historical
great
week.
It has. Let's talk about it.
You ladies look fabulous in your pearls, and I'm sure if you don't have your Chucks on, I'm sure you were sporting your Chucks yesterday.
But those are Grace's, so I just put them back there.
I love it.
I love it. Little baby Chucks. I love it.
She got a pink pair too. Y'all know the deal.
I'm sure she got a pink pair.
So, what a historical day. I think, political affiliations aside, I hope that most people can appreciate and celebrate and acknowledge the fact that our country made history yesterday by swearing in the first African American, the first South Asian woman as vice president.
I think the freakiest thing about that was just seeing like all of the men, all the pictures of all the men and then her. I think that for me, I didn't expect to get so emotional when I saw it, but I did. I'm not gonna lie. I got, it was kind of one of those things you do feel at times that this is a man's world, Our bosses tend to be men. The people leading us tend to be men. And to see a woman in that role was really amazing. It was one of those like, kind of that, moments that I think no matter what political party I would have been in, if it had been either party, it was one of those, wow, a woman can do this,
Yeah.
And I think too, actually, I didn't even really think about this until today, but if you think about the line of succession, of the 3 top positions in our government, 2 of them are held by women now. 2 of the 3. Like, that is crazy.
It is crazy.
It's awesome.
It is.
And I was also thinking about, I'm sorry, but I was thinking about my kids, like Grace in particular. She's a little bit older, but I mean, technically Asher was born during President Obama's last year in office, so it applies to him too. But if you look at the last 3 presidents and the last 3 vice presidents that we've had, 1/3 of them have been Black. Like, that's amazing. I mean, talk about progress.
Yeah, it's a new day.
It definitely
it's a new era.
I
think it's I just think that it's hope for the future, hope for our daughters. Yesterday, when my daughter and I were talking about it, she said, "Mommy, I'm going to be president one day," and I just got chills and got a little misty-eyed because
was it Lil? Was it Lillian?
No, it was not. It was she's gonna rule something and lead something too, but it was actually
Absolutely.
Nia. Yeah, it was actually Nia yesterday who said that. And so, I just think that it opens up a this whole new window of possibilities for our children, especially our daughters, because you can't necessarily be what you can't see. And this proves that representation matters. It inspires, it encourages. So, hey, what about Michelle Obama and her guest? Yeah. Michelle Obama. Okay.
Y'all see the outfit?
Really nothing to say. I mean, we all know she's.
And y'all know I don't wear color. I'm a black, gray, white type of person. I was like, do I have any anything in my closet that color today? Like I really did start searching.
Yeah,
Flawless.
color.
Awesome.
Flawless. You hear me?
Absolutely gorgeous. You hear me? I said
Hair.
the women came out to say, "Hey, we about to lead and look good." Okay.
That hair was flawless. That outfit, that belt, that coat. I mean, the whole look was just classy, immaculate. I mean, it was just awesome.
And I feel like everybody was kind of color coordinated almost. Like they weren't matching, but it was like the color theme of the day was very like majestic almost.
I really liked that in general because partly most of them had shades of purple on. So what people do not know is that shades of purple is like royalty. It's a royalty color. And so that's really awesome. Like that they all had on shades of purple, all the women. But not only that, it meant unity. So it's like the colors red and blue for Republican and Democrat. It's kind of blended together to bring in unity, which was really Joe Biden's whole speech yesterday. It was about unity. And I would love, it was interesting because I watched all three former presidents last night, talk about unity and just how we need to reach across and give each other some space to be who we are, but also to understand that we don't all have the same opinions or the same, thoughts. We all come from different backgrounds. And so what does that look like? What does that mean? What does that mean going forward? So I love the colors. Like the theme of the colors last night threw me for a loop. It was like one of those, wow, y'all ladies did that. But since we're talking fashion, we could always talk about Bernie. Uncle Bernie.
Oh Lord, Bernie.
Oh my goodness. These Bernie memes.
I'm for sure gonna give me some mittens from Vermont.
Hey, Bernie was like, look, it's cold. It's just another day. I got stuff to do. He had his whole little, it was a practical look. He's like, look, this is great. I'm here to help y'all celebrate. But after I leave this, I got to go back to the office because I got to drop this envelope off. And
I mean, it definitely looked like this was just one of the things on his to-do list.
Bernie's like, look.
It really was like he had this, like, check, inauguration, check.
But the memes, oh my gosh, the memes that have come out of his look have just kept me in stitches all day long.
All day.
Bernie and look, and the mittens. He said the mittens are from Vermont. So y'all want some mittens? Vermont makes the best mittens. That's what he said.
Yeah, he said, look, it's cold out here.
Yeah, I'm not about to fool with y'all in this cold weather with this wind.
Right.
I'll put on my
But Bernie is from Vermont. It couldn't have been colder than what he's used to in Vermont.
Listen, Bernie said,
he's been in DC a long time, Kristen.
Yes,
Bernie said, stay ready. You don't got to get ready.
Yeah,
okay.
Hello.
I'm just saying.
Bernie said, I'm not getting COVID and I'm not getting frostbite. He was social distancing for real. There was nobody around.
He's like, look, I am not playing with y'all. Listen, I'm not mad at Bernie.
I'm not either.
I'm not mad either. Not mad one bit.
He was like, I'm staying away from y'all. I ain't got time. I don't want to. So, all right. So this is a big one. Dr. Amber was on CNN.com yesterday.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, sis. What's up?
So, yesterday morning, my daughters and we were talking about the significance of the day. I had my pearls on. My daughter had her pearl earrings on. And I said, let's take some pictures. And so we were just having fun and celebrating the day, taking pictures. And I posted the picture on Twitter using the hashtag pearls for Kamala. And a CNN reporter reached out to me via Twitter and said, I love your photo. Is that your daughter with you? And I said, yes. And she said, does CNN have permission to use your photo? So I'm thinking now, there's a lot of scams on Twitter and social media. So I'm thinking like, who? So I looked her up. Sure enough, she's a legitimate Emmy nominated journalist. And I said, okay. So I said, yes, you have the permission to use the picture. And she asked me for a few quotes. Next thing I know, a couple hours, she sent me a link. And the rest, as they say, is history.
That is so cool.
You've gone viral, girl. You viral.
Yeah.
So talk about what it meant for you and your daughter to share the moment of yesterday.
Absolutely. So I'm not a part of AKA, but I will tell you that I come from a long history and really legacy of AKAs. My grandmother, my great aunt, my great great aunt are all AKAs, a plethora of cousins who are AKAs. And so I wasn't wearing the necklace and, for as an AKA because I'm not out here fronting, but I was wearing the pearls as a symbol of solidarity with women across the country to commemorate this special day. And then for me, as I stated in the article, for me, the day really marked a day of hope for healthcare for all, hope for a country that embraces its multiculturalism, hope for a country that embraces and recognizes identity diversity in every form, whether that be age, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, religion. We all have a place in this melting pot of these United States. And so that's what the pearls represented for me.
Chris, what about you? Dr. Kristen, what do you think?
I mean, it was just such a special moment. I was a little sad yesterday because I was in the operating room, so I didn't get to watch everything live, but I did come home and with my daughter, we sat and we rewatched some of it. And just to see her excitement and her pride in her country was just so moving to me. So when she first got home, she ran right upstairs. Well, before she went upstairs, we talked a little bit. It was like, do you remember what today is? And she's like, yeah, it's a big word. I can't remember the That's okay. She was like, I know it's the day that President Biden moves into the White House. I said, you are correct.
Okay, enough said.
Right. But she went upstairs and I didn't really pay much attention to where did she go? She comes back downstairs, y'all. She had changed into a t-shirt that I think she had from the 4th of July that was like, I love the USA. Oh. She had made an American flag. She took a paper towel from the bathroom and had colored it an American flag, then taped it to a pencil so she could wave it around. I was like almost in tears. She had so much pride and joy in her eyes as she sat and watched with me with her little American flag. It just... hope is the perfect word for my sentiments. And of course, now Vice President Kamala Harris is my soror. So it was awesome celebrating with the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. We've kind of been celebrating all week, all month since she's been out running.
Yeah, I've been a little obnoxious.
Well, honestly, we were actually super, super quiet.
Yeah, I kind of were. I'm not gonna lie.
Because
until yesterday.
Well, we couldn't be because we are a nonprofit organization, so we can't really align ourselves with a political party. Yeah. But we can still celebrate that she is a member of our sorority and now she's the vice president. But we couldn't before she was vice president, we couldn't really be like vote for Kamala.
Yeah. No, it's funny because up until yesterday, nobody really had a whole lot on there. None of the Howard University grads who HU, you get all the credit. They didn't have a whole bunch of stuff, but leading up to it, Howard started getting more of the AKAs were really quiet till yesterday. Y'all went a little I loved it though. It was one of those things that was amazing. I think that it shows that diversity and representation matters a lot when your child who's never been a part of any of this can say, this is important. Like, this is important. She looks like me. And this is really, really super duper important. So fun night, fun day.
Awesome.
So let's dig into today's topic. Today we're going to talk about alternative medicines. Obviously, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We've got COVID, we've got influenza. So how is everyone keeping themselves healthy through natural means? So I'll start by sharing one of my supplements that I take, and it's an important supplement that persons of color especially need to be potentially taking or have evaluated by your physician. So about a year ago, I went to my doctor and I was feeling really fatigued and kind of run down more than usual. And so she did a host of different tests, and she tested my vitamin D level, and it was like single digits, which is bad. And so she's like, you need to get on a vitamin D supplement ASAP. So I take a vitamin D supplement every week. I remind myself, because I'm not good at taking medicines. So I remind myself, because I water these 3 little plants that I'm trying to keep alive every Sunday. And so every Sunday that I water the plants, I take my vitamin D. And it's important because one of the ways that our body gets vitamin D is by being out in sunlight. And so if you're not out in sunlight and you're working inside all of the time and you're a person of color, you are at risk of potentially having low vitamin D, which can lead to low mood. It can lead to being tired. It's also associated with osteoporosis or thinning of the bones. So really important that as persons of color, especially women, that we be getting our vitamin D levels checked and be put on appropriate supplements if necessary.
So on top of that, I don't think most people understand the importance of vitamin D in this pandemic as well. It's a big thing. They've done multiple studies that have shown that actually taking vitamin D can help with COVID, not only help kind of get you through COVID, but also help hopefully not get COVID. So because our vitamin Ds are so low, the correlation is could your low vitamin D be causing African Americans to get COVID and severe COVID infections at a higher rate than everybody else. So I would say take a little vitamin D. It will not hurt you.
Start doing that.
Dr. Amber said her numbers were in the single digits. So if you imagine that a normal vitamin D level is like 30 and higher. So single digits is really not so good.
Yeah. At all. My doctor was like, you need to get on a supplement today. I said, okay, I will.
And Dr. Amber, you said that's dosed once a week. So it's not.
Yeah, I think there's various doses and formulation, but I'm on one of the higher doses because it was so low. And so it's but it's a pill that I have to take once a week.
So the pill that you take once a week is 50,000 units weekly, and you take it. Most people take it on Sundays just because it's easier for most people to remember to take it on Sundays. But 50,000 units. You can also take one every day, but for me, I tell patients that it's probably easier to just take the once a week because you don't have to take it every day, and it's something good to think about. So 50,000 units seems like a lot, but people take it pretty well and don't tend to have side effects to it. So
yeah, I haven't noticed any side effects, and I've been taking it for probably almost a year at this point. So
all right, so we're going to switch over to melatonin, which also has some vitamin D kind of properties, meaning it can also protect you against COVID, and so which is really good. So I've been telling a lot of my patients to take melatonin in general, and part of that is probably due to decrease in stress that melatonin gives most patients, as well as giving you adequate sleep so that you are not prone to get viruses.
Mhm.
I'm a melatonin believer. I sometimes drug my children with melatonin. You bring a bad child over my house, I'm more likely to give them a little melatonin. No, I'm just joking.
Those melatonin gummies are clutch.
Melatonin gummies are the best. So they taste good. Your kids eat it. They don't think it's candy. Start them on low dose, 1 milligrams. Don't try to overdose your kids on melatonin. The melatonin is really important. And what I try to tell people a lot of times, and a lot of people always say, you know, well, will melatonin hurt my baby or will it hurt my kids? And you got to be, I always say, talk to your doctor about it. I take melatonin for myself. I have a hard time going to sleep. I'm one of those people that my mind races. My husband can get in the bed and go right to sleep without any problems. I swear, he'll be like, I'm going to sleep, and then start snoring. I'll be like, what just happened? Like, don't you have thoughts? You don't have thoughts? But I'm not that person.
Once that head hit that pillow,
man,
gone.
I have always wanted that, but I don't have that. So melatonin does help me kind of regulate my sleep. My kids are stressed, especially during like after the holidays when I have to go back to school. I may give them a melatonin and kind of get them back into that rhythm. I won't normally keep them on it, but I do give it to them. So melatonin is safe, it's effective. Talk to your doctor about it. There's 1 milligrams that you can give your kids. I do the 3 milligrams and I take 2 for me, 2 gummies, and it works fine and it's safe and effective. The other things that I found interesting when I was researching for this topic was essentially the other stuff it helps with. It decreases pain in patients with endometriosis. And so part of that is they think that if you get a good 8 hours of sleep, your pain from endometriosis is much better. And so taking something for sleep, such as melatonin, helps with that, as well as, which I was actually surprised, because I don't have migraines the way I normally do. And supposedly melatonin helps with migraines. And I do not get as many migraines as I used to. Like I probably get migraines now like once or twice a year, where I used to get them every cycle. So that's actually
very interesting.
something I didn't think about till recently.
That's awesome. I am a melatonin believer as well. For myself, the whole family takes melatonin, and everyone does really, really well with it. We take it right now. Our kind of go-to supplements in this pandemic season are elderberry. So elderberry has immune enhancing or immune protective properties, and melatonin and vitamin D.
Those are my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dr. Kristen, what you got?
So I want to talk a little bit about turmeric because it's one of my faves. I really got into learning more about turmeric when I started to learn more and more about skincare, because there are several products on the market now that have turmeric as an active ingredient. So turmeric is a spice. It's kind of in the family of ginger. You can consume turmeric in food, but also you can take supplements. Turmeric is a potent antioxidant. So what that means is that it fights inflammation. It fights what we call free radicals that can cause inflammation, cell death, all those things. And so it has a number of really great effects. So in addition to being great for your skin because of its anti-inflammatory properties, it also has been studied for a number of other things. So with its anti-inflammatory properties, of course, arthritis is something that it is being studied. From what I've found, so far data is inconclusive and they are wanting to study it more. But you know, with all these things, of course, talk to your doctor about, you know, how you can incorporate some of these natural supplements with other medications or treatment plans that you may already be on. Another one that I found very interesting, again, with its anti-inflammatory properties, diabetes. There was a study with, I think, around 240 pre-diabetic patients. So these are patients who have a hemoglobin A1C, which is a lab result that we use to determine how well controlled your blood sugar is. It gives us a much better look at your blood sugar control than just a one-time blood sugar measurement. So people who are pre-diabetic don't quite fall into the category of diabetes. They're like right on the edge. And, if you don't make diet changes, start exercising and all that good stuff, you may develop diabetes. And in that study, it actually was shown that over a 9-month period of taking turmeric supplements, it did lower the risk of those pre-diabetic patients developing diabetes. So I thought that was really interesting. Another one, PMS symptoms. It has been shown to relieve some of the symptoms of PMS, and migraines and headaches was another thing that they probably need some more research to really see if it shows an effect, but it's definitely something that a lot of people claim that they take turmeric and it helps their migraines. So I was actually really intrigued with just how many things that it really can help with.
So I would love
That's
to know what
excellent.
the viewers are doing right now as far as natural supplements that you take, things that work for you, things that you don't think that have worked for you, or things you have questions about. So either we can research it or we can give you what we've already researched.
I'm
I am
seeing a lot of comments around elderberry, vitamin D. I've seen a lot of people saying they're taking vitamin D, echinacea, sea moss. And then the comment that we just showed there a minute ago is, that melatonin stopped working for this patient. But, I have heard, and maybe Dr. Tamika or Dr. Kristen can chime in, but I've heard that that some people will develop kind of a resistance or kind of a tolerance, meaning you don't get the same bang for the buck that you used to get, over time, that it may become less effective. That has not happened to me yet, but I have heard from patients that I treat for chronic pain who are also using melatonin to sleep that they have noticed, some of them have noticed decreased efficacy of the melatonin over time.
So I always tell patients when you get that to take a break from it. So take a weekend off. And yeah, you may have a harder time sleeping, but then try it again like the next week. And normally it would kind of restart itself. Sometimes that is the cause. The other thing is there something else going on? Are you now more stressed than you've been in the past, and you just haven't really recognized that your stress level has changed, or something in your life has changed that's caused it to be more difficult to go to sleep? And so trying to make sure you have those healthy habits, doing meditation, adding some other things to help you sleep as well is really, really super important. But also just taking a break. Even with supplements, with any medicines, it's not a bad time to take a little medicine vacation from what you normally would take. Like if you're going to go on vacation, don't take your melatonin with you. See if you can fall asleep on your own in a more relaxed state.
Mm-hmm.
That's good advice.
Excellent.
So my favorite
echinacea is great for immunity.
Ooh, echinacea. I do not take echinacea, but Shamika swears by it. So what do you think about that, Dr. Kristen?
Yeah, I have not studied echinacea myself, but I remember even when I was little, I had an aunt that she swore by it. She would take echinacea every day. So yeah, it's great for your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I had a patient the other day. His mother is from the islands. And one of the things he told me was like, she always says there's a plant or an herb for everything. And I do think that we spend a lot of money on medications that we could get from a plant or an herb or a supplement that would work just as well as some of the other stuff. And I am a proponent of apple cider vinegar. I've told you guys I've taken a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar for years. And it works well for me. It decreases my bloating. It decreases acid reflux for me.
Mm.
It's really good for your hair. I have really bad seborrheic dermatitis, which is kind of a flaky scalp. And so I've used it on my scalp. So I've literally sprayed it on my scalp. Normally, I do take a shot every day, but I spray it on my scalp when my scalp is actually acting up. And it improves your gut pH. And so I'm a huge proponent of apple cider vinegar. I've had lots of patients, and the first time I'm going to honestly be honest with you guys. The first time before I even started taking it, it was a patient that recommended apple cider vinegar. It was not something I like came up on my own. She was having a lot of pH balance issues, and she was like, "You should try apple cider vinegar. I take it every day." And I was like, I don't know. I did my research on it. And it actually has so many benefits that I was like, I'll try it and see. It actually has worked awesome. I've taken it probably for over a year. You got to be careful because it can mess up your enamel in your teeth. And so you got to make sure you either take it with water or you take it kind of like a shot, and make sure you drink water right after it. But yeah, I'm a huge proponent of apple cider vinegar. It's my thing.
So you just do it as like, you don't dilute it and like drink it over a long time. You just throw it back.
Do it like a shot. Throw it back like a shot every morning before I leave the house.
So, we just want to reemphasize though that, sometimes there are certain medical conditions that you need to be on medications that are not supplements, that are not plants. So, if you have chronic high blood pressure, then you may need to be managed on medications that are prescription. So sometimes herbs may not cure everything, and medications can help too. So make sure that for whatever condition that you're considering starting a supplement, make sure that you're in close connection and close conversation and working with your physician or your primary care provider to be getting information and advice and direction about your medications.
I think that's a huge thing. Being a primary care doctor, someone who takes care of patients every day, I need to know what you're taking, because some of these things that I want to prescribe you, when you come in and you tell me you're depressed, and I say, okay, do you want to start medicine? And you're like, yes. Well, if you're taking St. John's wort for depression, and I give you depression medicine, that actually can have an adverse reaction to you. So the big thing is making sure your doctor knows what you're taking at home, will actually help guide them into what to give you when you need medications for high blood pressure or depression. And so that's a really, really big thing, because St. John's wort, people like to use that for depression, but it can actually weaken your birth control. For those of you who don't want to get pregnant, weaken your birth control. But more than that, your birth control, if you're taking birth control not to get pregnant, yes, that's a big thing. But what about if you're on warfarin, which is a blood thinner? So it can actually weaken or increase the effects of warfarin. So it can cause you to increase in bleeding, and so which can cause death. So you got to be really careful when you're taking these supplements over the counter and not letting your physician know what you're taking.
Well, we have had a wonderful time with you all tonight, recapping this historical week and talking to you a little bit about alternative medicines for a variety of different conditions. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. See you next week.
Thank you.